Hey guys, it's Dennis here with Revog Games, and this is our weekly games podcast. And I'm joined by,
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
and we're taking a look at or discussing some of the gaming news. No huge news this past week or so, but some stuff coming out. I know we're gonna start off talking about the EA Play Live 2021. They didn't have a lot of big announcements. They had first look at Grid Legends, which is this new racing franchise. They had some what was this called? Lost in Random, this kind of almost Tim Burton inspired action game. And then the biggest thing that people got excited about that we're going to talk about is the Dead Space remake. And this is going to come out for the PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. So this is not for, this current, or it's weird. I always, want to say current gen because I still think of Xbox One and PS4 as current gen, but I guess technically, I don't know. Next gen, what gen are we? We're kind of in that in-between phase, right? Because we already have a new generation of consoles out, but there isn't enough installed base in the market yet to say that it is the predominant console generation, but is the most technologically superior console generation. So anyways, they're using the DICE's Frostbite engine to kind of remake the whole thing. It was very interesting reading about their approach to it, because obviously they said they want to respect the original and keep the spirit of the original, but they said this isn't like some sort of up-resing of textures or something. Like they are rebuilding all the assets from scratch. They're just using the original game as kind of the template of how they're going to do that. And they said they're going to add also even some narrative flourishes, nothing that changes the main story, but just maybe some side stuff that kind of adds some more texture to that story. Were you a fan of the Dead Space franchise, and what do you think about this remake?
I freaking love Dead Space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no other way to say that. I loved Death Space. Loved the co-op. I think that only came. I think Dead Space 2 or 3 was co-op. It was a while ago. Can't recall. But the co-op one, man, I played that for hours. I was exciting. So I kind of expected this, to be honest. Like a while ago, like maybe about 6 months ago is when I started having my suspicions that this would happen, because I watched the original creator of Dead Space do a deep dive into him, kind of like a mini documentary about Dead Space itself, and he was interviewed and he spoke about a lot of the mechanics that they came up with and a lot of the things that they did, which was pretty groundbreaking at the time, in terms of camera movements and like jump scares and those kinds of things, like making it work for video games. And I remember at the end of the interview, because they always asked, they were like, "So, are we ever gonna get another Dead Space?" And he said, if I recall correctly in the interview, he was like, "Yeah, I'm open to it." And then he winked, and I was like, he knows something. He knows something that I don't know, because it seems like he is going to be, from what I've heard, he's still going to be giving them advice, or like guiding them, if you will. You know what I mean? And making sure it kind of goes the right way. I'm excited. It's going to do well. There's so much hype around this, Dennis. People are so excited for this. They're so stoked for this. I hope that it's successful enough for them to redo the entire trilogy, because I want that co-op mode, man. This game is horrifying, but it's with a friend. It's so fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I only played the first.
Sick.
I only played the first game. I never played the sequels, and I enjoyed what I played. And I'm not like a diehard Dead Space fan, but I liked what it was. I'll see what people say about this one. They had a teaser trailer that kind of showed off it in the Frostbite engine and using on the next gen kind of technology, showing off things that they couldn't do before.
I think it's gonna do really well, genuinely. Like I don't know what their price point's gonna be, but if it looks good and they're doing it from the ground up, honestly, I'd pay $60 for it. It's a good game.
Just one remake.
I mean, well, I guess here's the thing. Like the first time I played that game, it took me a long time to finish it. But
Uh,
obviously, like your second, third time, you can blast through the game pretty
uh,
quickly. So it's a tricky thing. Like first time, I guess people you're gonna have a lot of first timers playing this game with the remake, and I think
hmm
for them it's worth the $60. But for the people who have already played it, probably not worth the $60. But then again, they're most likely not gonna price it at $60 because
I
no
would
remakes
not.
are ever priced at that. You know?
Yeah, the only reason like I say like Mass Effect the Legendary Edition can get away with the $60 because there's three games. It's three
Yeah,
games, so that makes more sense. Then you can think of it this way: each one is $20. So
exactly.
I don't think they're gonna sell this for 20, but if you're selling this for maybe 30, 40, maybe you can get away with it. I don't remember it being a very long game either.
No, you can finish it in a day.
Yeah.
You can easily finish it in a day.
So yeah, at $60,
It depends. It depends how scared you get. That's
Yeah.
the real question.
But what I'm saying is,
get
if you
really-
want, if you want to power through it, yeah, and you're not dying all the time. Yeah, if you can do it in one sitting in a whole day, like I don't know,
well, let's
60,
hope for $40.
60 yeah, 30 to 40. And
I
then,
don't think they'd go as low as 30. I genuinely don't.
mhm.
Just because it seems like they're putting a lot of work into it. And
Yes,
I think about
it's
like the Shadow of the Colossus remake.
mhm,
Like that was like when somebody puts a lot of time and effort into a remake and it's like drastically different,
mhm.
then it's usually going to be priced at a bit more like $40. Like the reworking the lighting of this game with
Yeah.
new gen technology is it's gonna look so sick with like
Yeah.
better lighting and things like that. I think
Yeah.
that if they're smart they'll do $40, but I'm worried. Like I'm not that worried if they price it at 60, but I think that they would be ballsy enough to do that. You know, I'm not gonna put it past them.
I don't think it's the right move. I think 50, 60 is
Oh,
too
that's
much.
definitely not the right move, but I think that they might
It's
do
too
it.
much.
You know what I mean?
And then I'll blame the people who buy it for 50 or 60 for encouraging this type of much like microtransactions, encouraging this type of behavior. Because if they're not making money off of it, they won't do it. And I appreciate
Yeah.
them doing a remake, but this 50 to 60 is a lot. I mean, like I said, it is going to be rebuilt from scratch, not like an up-res like Last of Us. I originally had started playing that on the PS3, and then I got the, did they call it the remaster? What did they call it for the PS4 version?
It was just it was just HD. It was The
Yeah,
Last of Us HD.
yeah. It just it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was just up textured.
Yeah, up text. Yeah, pretty much. But remember, the PS3 was HD as well, so it was just up textured or whatever. It wasn't. There was no rebuild of models or whatnot. It looked better.
They may have added more things in, like with GTA. When GTA got the next gen boost, the biggest comparison was that they added more trees, more wildlife, because it could handle more.
Yeah.
So if anything, it wasn't that much of a graphical leap.
Yeah.
It just it did look crisper though, and the lighting was better.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like if you look at the PS4 Last of Us and then Last of Us Part 2, which looks amazing. You could definitely still see the difference there. So, I mean, you are going to get that. Like I said, it seems like they're doing everything the right way. I just hope that they price it at a reasonable price for people. And I would say a reasonable price is 40 or under. Just let me, before we end this subject and go on to the next one, I want to ask you kind of a broader question. Because the way that remakes are kind of perceived in the movie business is a lot of fans kind of find them to be lazy, and there's a lot of even though there are a good amount of people, especially if it's a beloved franchise or whatnot, will go out to see them, but in general it's kind of poo-pooed on anytime a remake is announced. It's not that case in the video game world. Remakes are definitely received much better. Obviously, the quality of the remake is obviously going to determine the overall reception of it. But in general, when they are announced, like Dead Space or Mass Effect Legendary Edition or whatever, people are pretty optimistic and happy about them. I mean, what do you think about this kind of difference between the games and the movie genre?
Well, I don't think it's ever going to get to the case of the way that people hate movie remakes and well, movie reboots, remakes, TV reboots and remakes. They hate those, and for good reason, because Hollywood almost always messes them up because they change them. You know what I mean? With video games, when you get a remake, they try to be as natural and true to the original as possible, which is not something that you see in like the film industry, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hardly ever care about like trying to keep it true to the original, you know? And I think people can respect that even with a remake, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think retextures, people they don't I wouldn't see them getting upset about that, but it better be cheap. If you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
selling a game that's just retextured for like a next gen, then it better be cheap. That's all I'm saying. But if you're remaking the game from the ground up, I think people will respect that. You know what I mean? It all depends down to the pricing point, but they're never going to be like, oh, it's such a cop out, because it's not really. It's still a lot of hard work if you're rebuilding it from the ground up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with like a movie, when you remake it, it's still going to cost a lot of money to remake it, but it's way less hard work. You know, it's so easy to remake something. You know, not, I mean, reboot is different because you're changing it, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
to like remake a movie, it's so easy, which is why I'm shocked when Hollywood messes it up. Like I'm genuinely shocked when they mess it up because it's so easy to not mess up. You know, just don't change the original formula. That's the point of it,
Well,
you know?
I think the issue too is with movies is you are one, it's a new cast, right? So that
Mm.
immediately changes the stuff. It's a new director. It's you know what I mean? Like the script will also be changed. So it's definitely movies are interesting compared to video games. Video games, it seems like you can kind of recapture that magic. The magic is kind of in the code. It's in the blueprint already set out, and you can kind of recapture that
Yeah.
magic. Where in the movies is much more of a uh I don't know. You can't
It's like
really
hit or miss
tell.
thing.
Yeah, it's very like I remember watching a episode of John Favreau's now defunct show. He had this show called Dinner for Five, where he would invite a lot of actors and directors and whatnot onto the,
Oh
and they would
yeah, I
eat
remember
dinner,
that.
and they would. I really like that show. Unfortunately,
Wasn't that kind of like the Hollywood Roundtable,
kind of, yeah. I like this one because it was a little
but less
more.
interviewee?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was more casual, and they would kind of get into stuff, and it wasn't always. Anyways, in one episode, I think one of my favorite episodes, they talked about, when they're making a movie, it's like you just don't know when you start out. If it's you try to make it good, and he says it's like a basketball, kind of like hanging on the rim of the basket, and like you just don't know if the ball's falling in or falling. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of factors that can help it go in, but you just don't know. So I think that may be another thing with remakes, is that kind of magic. It's
Yeah.
hard to duplicate them. And like one of my favorite comedies of all time is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, with Michael Caine and Steve Martin.
Love
They
Michael Caine.
they did a remake of it recently with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. What
Oh
was it
yeah.
called? It was called something else. It was called like The
I just
Hustle,
remember
The Hustle
yeah,
or
I was gonna
whatever.
say I remember the movie
I
poster.
watched it. A lot of people crapped on it. I watched it, and obviously it was nowhere near as hilarious as the original. And it was like, it did kind of follow the same kind of spirit and formula of the same beats as the original, but it just couldn't recapture the magic. And so,
Yeah. Well, with comedies, it really heavily depends on the actor.
mm-hmm.
Like, like people like Michael Caine, like the original cast really made that probably I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I'd imagine
Watch
that
it.
the original
All
cast
time,
brought like a lot to that movie, you know?
yeah,
They
all
like
time
they must have.
comedy, all time best comedy. One of the best comedies.
I'll
Uh,
definitely look it up, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to talk about that a little bit, about just how remakes are kind of how they're received, and
I mean,
how much
gamers love
better they do.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
I don't think gamers will ever be upset with remakes because of how much we love nostalgia,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like I can see people getting mad when remakes are made that nobody wants, you know? Um, I would like it's just I don't know. Usually it's well received, even when they do decide to retexture a bunch of old games and bring it to a newer console. Like I remember they still do it, but on the PS4, most likely on the PS5 too, they started adding PS2 games you can
Mm-hmm.
digitally download. Most of them are for $10, which I think is a bit steep for a game that is literally. It's not a retexture, not nothing. It's literally the original PS2 game, but you can play it on your new console. And, like I think like charging anything more than $10 for that is a bit like
Yeah.
it's a bit of a jip. You know what I mean? But when they do it in like bundles, like you said, where you usually when they do like those older remakes of games that are like old, and they do the entire trilogy in one, then it's worth it. Like I think of the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix and Kingdom Hearts 2.5. Both of those collections involved at least three whole games. You know, and they sold for I think $45 or $50. They're marked down now, but originally that's how it went for. But it was worth it because it is hours and hours of gameplay. You know, not as much as Mass Effect, for instance, but you still get three whole games for it.
Yeah. Well, kind of moving on to our next topic, which is kind of similar in a way, which is the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. You know, this is something that they released the official trailer. We knew about this game a few weeks ago when they announced it. It's going to be released on August 20th, and so it's taking the original game, but then adding more to it. You know, obviously it's not a remake, but it is an expansion to something that's existing. It's not a whole new sequel. But anyways, the trailer came out. You know, it talks about Iki Island, which is kind of the way they're kind of gonna get away with like telling this whole new story because it's a whole new location, and like so you're not like adding stuff to like the.
Yeah, it is still an actual real island though.
Yeah.
You know?
But what I'm saying is like you're not adding stuff to Tsushima where you're like,
Exactly.
well, like why wasn't there before? You know what I mean? You're not like, hey, I played this whole game and they just they popped up new villages or towns or castles and they weren't there before. Now they can be like, well, this is a whole new island. You never went there before. Watching the trailer looked good. The one thing though, I always bugs me. It happens in movies and TVs as well. It's when the hero or a villain, either the hero gets the villain in a compromising position or the villain gets the hero in a compromising position and they don't kill him and then they escape and then you know what I mean, like
and then that's the conflict later on because they didn't do the thing there.
Because remember, Jin was also captured before in the original Ghost of Tsushima, and that's when what's his face, the little sidekick dude, I forgot his name, got his, you know. Okay, I don't want to spoil it. Anyways,
yeah.
But he gets captured and nothing happens to him, and then he gets captured again in the very beginning of this expansion director's cut, and he's okay.
They gave us a bit of a breakdown as well. You're going to be encountering pirates, smugglers, mad monks, which I'd love to see I'd love to see a mad monk. You know, just the idea of an angry monk. Yeah. Kind of defeats the purpose, but yeah. So yeah, pirates, smugglers, mad monks, and haunted caves, which is quite it's quite different from the game itself. You know what I mean? Yeah, pirates.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, $20, it's all right.
I wonder if it's gonna be like, pirates set in that like. I wonder if it's going to be traditional pirates the way that we think pirates, or if it's going to be like more historically accurate. I mean, I would imagine more historically accurate. I do know pirates existed around the era of samurai, but like I would imagine it's still going to be like Asian pirates, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're going to get like you're not going to get
Johnny Depp's, you know? Like going to run out there. Sea of
Jack
Thieves.
Sparrow, yeah. That's still going to be quite cool though, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next subject. We've got Respawn. We kind of knew about this, that they were developing a brand new IP. Looks like it's going to be a single player adventure in a unique universe. This is kind of based on a...
Yeah. But didn't we assume that this was possibly going to be a big... we thought that this was just going to be a big Star Wars game. Like a while ago, we assumed it was that because of the success they had with Fallen Order.
Yeah, but it looks like it's going to be their own brand new IP.
It looks like it's not, yeah.
But I do feel like it's going to be in the vein of Jedi Fallen Order, especially if you read these...
I think it's going to be super sci-fi.
And also, just like I said, it's what BioWare did to... They took the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic template that they made, and they created Mass Effect. It's literally it's the same formula.
I don't think there's going to be any guns in this.
So I feel like,
Just if they're
yeah.
looking for a senior combat designer, I don't
Mhm.
like when you say combat. I think of like not gun
Mhm.
mechanics. You know what I mean? Like you'd be specifically looking for someone that works on gun mechanics as opposed to combat mechanics. Um, so yeah, like I mean, I don't know how they're gonna get around not being able to use a lightsaber, but I'm sure they're gonna think of something similar. You know?
Yeah, I think they're gonna do like story driven with action adventure. I honestly feel like it's going to be much like how Jedi Fallen Order is, and
Mm.
just with their own IP. That way they control it. They can do sequels, and they don't have to give so much, you know,
It's probably going to be a skill tree
profit.
because
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
player progression, so there'll
Hmm.
definitely be a skill tree of sorts.
Yeah. I think this is getting the Mass Effect treatment, but exciting. Respawn's doing very well lately. Medal of Honor
Yeah,
notwithstanding.
I think it's going to be Souls-like just because of the description that they gave the combat designer. Uh,
Hmm.
you'll be work. They'll be what's it? We'll also work on creating mechanics that create thoughtful combat encounters that reward moment-to-moment strategic decision making. Creative improvisation and player behaviors that are a joy to execute. So I see it.
Hmm.
It sounds. I don't know. It just makes me think of dodge rolls, dive rolls, and
Yeah.
timing and like parrying. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yeah. So cool. Looking forward to that. Okay, this next one is. I thought it was like news, but when I kind of read into it, it was actually more of a person's take about EA, because they actually never. No one actually says this, and it's not even from a report. It's just that because EA has some bigger single player games coming out. Obviously, we just talked about the Dead Space remake. We have
Mm.
they're working on a new Mass Effect. They're working on a new Dragon Age. They're saying, so people are speculating whether or not EA is kind of shifting away from the free to play microtransaction, online multiplayer type of games, and they're focusing more on these kind of, much like the success they had with Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, that was much better received than Battlefront or Battlefront 2. So it just seems like people are speculating, is this a shift towards the single player, non-multiplayer, non-microtransaction type of games, or is this just a temporary thing where they're just like, okay, these are the big things that are coming out next, but eventually we're gonna
I think it's them
go.
testing the waters. You
Mhm.
know, like they know that they get a lot of flack with their microtransactions because
Mhm.
they're usually a bit much or they're not worth it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or they're pay to win a lot of the time.
Uh,
You know, it's never
that's the
really
that's the one I really can't
cosmetics.
stand.
Yeah,
It's
and
pay to
EA is
win.
known for that specifically. Look, everything has microtransactions. We accept it, but when it becomes pay to win, it's a problem. You
Yes.
know, which to spur off 1 second before we get back into this,
Mhm.
I'm really upset that the new Pokemon MOBA, which I was really excited for, is straight up pay to win. I mean, the game hasn't come out yet, but a lot of the people who have been playing it have shown that you can literally just buy upgrades that you could naturally like level up yourself, but it would take literally days, or you can just spend like $150 and get it right now, and
Mhm.
then instantly be better than everyone else. And it was like it was depressing the advantage that they had. You know,
Mhm.
even they felt bad. But nobody likes that, so hopefully Pokemon fixes that. But I think EA is testing out the waters by moving away with this. Um, look, they Dragon Age has always been big success. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But besides Dragon Age and a couple other things that I can think of, they don't, like you said, they don't really do single player games. One of the last single player games I enjoyed from them got remastered recently. I don't think it was remade from the ground up. It just seemed like a texture update.
Mhm.
But it was the Kingdoms of Amalur, which
Yes.
didn't sell well because it came out around, I believe it came out just after or just before Skyrim, and obviously Skyrim was the thing to play when Skyrim came out. I mean, I even played that game a year or two after it came out. Kingdoms of Amalur. I didn't play it when it came out, but two
Mhm.
years later played it, loved it. Didn't buy the remake because I actually remember that game so well, every single detail, that I
Mhm.
didn't feel like buying the remake. Like I thought of it and I was like, wow. As soon as I thought of it, I remembered the entire story. It's very linear, so it's not like different encounters.
How's the combat? How's the combat in that game? Because I heard a lot about this game because I know that Todd McFarlane and Kurt Schilling had worked on. There was that big controversy of Kurt Schilling and his video game company and how he kind of screwed people that were working there.
Some people complained that the combat is a bit repetitive, and it is, but it's fun. Okay. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Most combat is repetitive. You just got to find new ways to enhance your,
You're basically just like button mashing until you fill up a bar to activate your ultimate, and so then you're like in this ultimate kind of mode. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to grind gear. The reason I like RPGs is so I can grind gear and look cool. That's the only that is the number one thing. If I can't look cool in the game, why am I playing it? But I think that this is them testing out the waters. I think they're gonna have some success with this. As long as they don't cram in. Well, you can't really put microtransactions in a single player game.
I mean, you
can.
That's a lie.
Assassin's Creed does it. I forgot. They've got the entire Ubisoft store where it's like, hey, spend a bit of extra money. We'll give you a map that shows all the items in the game for you. Damn.
Wasn't there that one? I don't know if they ever did it. It was like it made the game easier. No, it made like your experience points go up faster, so you could grind more faster. I remember there was like
so. It was like they give you XP boosts and stuff.
Yeah, dude. That stuff to me is just so.
It was so unnecessary. It really was. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like also, if I had the cash for it, I would have bought like a lot of the times.
I just
even
hate
in Valhalla
these.
They have it where you can buy the map and it puts everything on the map for you. Like, I'll pay for that. But
I hate this arbitrary
It's so stupid. I agree, Dennis. Like I said, but back in our days, expansions were separate boxes that you had to go pick up at the PC store. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to go to a place called Electronic Boutique. Do people even know what that is? People know what GameStop is. Electronic Boutique was like the OG GameStop back in the day. It's no longer here anymore. But yeah,
people don't even remember Radio Shack, Dennis, which is crazy to me. Actually, we're getting off topic, but I was really upset. There was like one Radio Shack left in LA a couple years ago, and it closed, and I was so pissed because Radio Shack is great, man.
There was a Radio Shack that was next door to this Peruvian place called Mario's. It's really good. Not that I always went there or anything like that, but I would sometimes when I was waiting for a table, I would go into the Radio Shack, and it was a cool place to
always
buy.
Had the cables you needed.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is, you haven't been in LA in the US for a while. Do you remember Fry's Electronics?
No, don't break my heart, Dennis.
Dude, gone. You have to understand. This is like part of my
Burbank.
No, all of them. The whole chain is gone. This is like my high school, college, early,
Dude, I love Fry's.
Yeah. Because Fry's was the new Radio Shack. Sad. Fry's was the new Radio Shack, except for bigger and better.
Just much bigger, yeah.
And I would go there.
Version of Radio Shack.
But the pandemic, just kind of pandemic did a lot of stuff to people, man. Yeah.
They had a great PC department, even your film gear and stuff.
Okay, wait. Do you know about this yet? ArcLight is gone.
Yeah, that I knew about. That would happen about a year ago, didn't it? That was sad.
No, it happened a few months ago.
Okay, well, maybe they were trying to I know that they announced it a year ago. People were shocked because it's basically a historic freaking landmark. I'm not just talking ArcLight, but specifically the ArcLight in Hollywood.
Cinerama,
That's basically a historic landmark. It's been there since like the 20s or 30s. I don't understand how they can get rid of it.
I mean, that dome is still there. They still don't know what they're gonna do with it. It's weird.
They better keep.
They sold the movie theaters at the Grove and the Americana to AMC. So now those are owned by AMC, but they wouldn't sell AMC the ArcLight. So maybe they have other plans. But anyways, yeah. Back to what we were talking about. We got off topic about the olden days.
EA single player games making a move towards it. I think they're testing out the water.
For me, that's all good because that's what I mainly play and what I'm most excited to play. I'm not into, So, are you getting the focus problem?
Yeah, on a webcam, which is so weird.
Do you see Elgato has a new webcam?
Yeah, the new webcam. It does look good. There we
Looks
go. The
pretty
new
good.
Elgato webcam
I
looks
saw some.
actually.
I saw some reviews on it. And it was like pretty impressive for a webcam.
Yeah, Elgato had a thing where they actually spoke about a couple stuff on launch. The webcam was sick, but they had an XLR controller, which would be
Yeah,
great. Like I have my recording interface here, but for streaming, it's so difficult to be able to like adjust your different audio levels. And they basically brought out this thing where you can plug in your XLR mic. It
yeah,
has enough gain and power for
yeah,
condenser mics. It's actually basically just a preamp
yeah,
if you think about it that you're plugging it into, but it has way more. You can adjust the volume differently in game, out
yeah,
game, and
yeah,
I'm actually thinking of getting it just for streaming. It's really sick.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one, I wasn't really anticipating or thinking about this game, but Death's Door. It's an Xbox exclusive. I mean, Xbox. When I say Xbox, I always mean PC
Game
and
Pass.
Xbox or
Yeah,
whatever.
PC.
Actually, I
PC,
don't know. I don't
Xbox.
know if it is on Game Pass.
Which real quick before we go forward, regarding the Dead Space thing, eventually Dead Space will be on Game Pass too, because of the whole deal with EA Play.
Mhm.
Like Dead Space will most likely be for EA Play Plus members when it comes out, but
Yeah.
eventually it'll become just for normal EA Play. And once
Yeah,
that happens, included in Game Pass.
they just did that for UFC 4. I already own UFC 4, but UFC 4 is now on Game Pass.
Serious?
Well, on
I'm gonna-
EA Play Game Pass. Like, so if you have Ultimate,
Which is attached, yeah. Or if you have Game Pass for PC, which means you don't even have to have Ultimate.
but
I've
I
got
don't.
Game Pass for
I don't
PC.
think it's available for PC. They never made a PC version
Oh,
of the game.
you're right.
So
I'm still gonna check though. I'm still gonna check because you never know.
check it out. But so
Death's Door.
But
This
apparently
I've never heard about this, but this looks kind of. I like
It-
puzzle platformers, and this looks quite fun.
it got like people are raving about it. Like giving like it 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. People are just saying it's awesome.
It must have a really cute story then.
They said
Because I'm not gonna lie. From what I saw, it looked like a fun platformer, but not enough for people to like rave about it. It must have like a killer soundtrack, a killer story, a couple of other things that come together.
They said fun puzzles. They said the bosses are challenging. They said it's like an old school Zelda type game. You remember like the old school Zelda, not
Yeah.
current Zelda.
They're like the top-down Zeldas, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it is on Game Pass. So yeah, that means I can check it out. I wonder if it's on. It says it's on PC, right? So I would assume it's on PC. Do I want to play it on PC or do I want to play it on my Xbox? I mean, it's a game that the graphics don't matter. You know what I mean? The graphics going to be the same on your Xbox One, your PC, your Xbox Series X. It's all the same. But yeah, let me see here. It says, well, I do not see it on my Xbox Game Pass. Unless maybe they're loading it in.
It could still be.
Yeah, I do not see this on Game Pass. It's weird. Anyways, people are raving about it, so I think I may. If it is on
Definitely
Game
check
Pass,
it out.
yeah, it is not on Game Pass. So it's weird because it's such a Game Pass type of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. They could have had some other deals or something. You never know. They could.
But
have
it
made
is
some
an
other
X.
deals with
It
Epic
is
or something.
yeah, but it is an Xbox/PC exclusive. So
Oh wow! I just saw Game Pass added a bunch of stuff the past week that I was gone. Nothing I know, but I needed to check that update.
yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, this
This one's
was
kind of interesting.
yeah. So basically, we haven't really had a Superman game in a long, long time. And there's always, issues with Superman as a character for a video game because he's so OP.
Yeah.
People just don't know what to do with him. But apparently, they were making a Superman game, I think, for the PS3, I believe.
Yeah, there
And
was some footage as well.
yes,
I know
and
someone posted it in our Discord.
yeah, so they had a kind of this gameplay prototype, and it was codenamed Blue Steel. And it kind of reminded people of how Spider-Man is. Like he's flying around the city, around Metropolis, and I don't think it was quite like open world like that Spider-Man was, but it just had that feel to it. Probably it was like in sections where you were Superman, you were fighting, XYZ enemies, and then moved around. But you could kind of fly around and go, in large areas within the city and destroying buildings and whatnot. And I saw the prototype and I saw the graphic, and didn't look kind of cool. But eventually it got canceled when whatchamacallit, the company
Went under.
yeah, went under. So it's they kind of really released some
It's
kind of
unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because, like you said, it's been a while since a Superman game. People have been thinking, like a lot of studios have thought about Superman games, right? There's always been speculation about a Superman game,
like,
especially after the success of all the Arkham games.
yeah,
Literally because of all the Arkham
yeah,
games.
they thought Rocksteady was going to do a Superman game, which
At some point, but it's one of those things where I've watched a few videos on this, and logistically it's difficult to do a good Superman game because it's the same reason why logistically it's difficult to do a good Flash game because you need a lot of land and you need that shit to load fast. If you're super running or you're super flying fast, it's a lot of resources to load at a lot of time. But it's definitely doable. There's this guy who I believe he released. It's on Steam right now. It's this one guy on his own, and he's basically made a Superman game. Like I think for like I think it's just called Superhero or something, obviously for copyright reasons. And the guy doesn't look anything like Superman, but
Yeah.
he's clearly Superman.
yeah, his skills are all
And
Superman.
literally, and it's like it's so much fun. It looks like it's quite fun to play. I think I played it when it was free. Maybe he's charging a few dollars for it now, I'd imagine. But it's definitely possible. You know what I mean? You just have to sacrifice a few things, I'd imagine. Like he's built a good simulation. There's not much of a story. You're just kind of going around fighting stuff. There isn't any of those elements in. But we are long overdue for a Superman game, and with the new Unreal Engine, that stuff can load in so quick. It can load so much in so quick. So if ever there was a time to make a Superman game, somebody should jump on that now with the new Unreal Engine, because you can easily load in like half of America. You know what I mean? Obviously don't make places you can go into. You just give us buildings, have the entire like game set outside where you're not inside anything. Maybe make a couple destructible like skyscrapers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching the gameplay prototype right now. It's interesting. Superman doesn't have a cape, but he's flying around and running around. He takes enemies and he can like crush them through buildings, and there's destructible vehicles, and you can like knock the enemy into buildings.
It does give like heavy Spider-Man 1 and 2 vibes.
Yes.
Like it's actually it reminds me a lot of Spider-Man 2. Like all the throwing mechanics, the way like the people are. Oh, I do love that pushing somebody through a building.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't look that good, I feel like if it was polished, it could be quite fun.
Yeah.
Like it. The problem is that it's an investment because you need to make a big sandbox type of area. It's a very like sandbox kind of game if you're going to be Superman going around. And then it's like you said, it's tricky because of licensing rights. Because to make a fun Superman game, you'd have to like be like, hey, look, DC, we want to blow up cities as Superman, and they're going to be like, no, Superman doesn't kill people, and I'll be like, well, if I want to smash through a building, let me smash through a building.
Yeah, so I think they should make a Superman game. There's a lot of factors of why it's tough, but it seems like they were on the right track in this game.
Yeah,
it was pretty impressive for a PS3.
Fun. Yeah, it could have been really fun.
Wow. All right, this next one. This is a follow-up to what we talked about before with Netflix. This is not a confirmation of anything to do with them and Sony partnering up.
If it is, it's disappointing.
Yeah, it's basically that they're going to be focusing on mobile games first. And like we had thought before, they're not charging any type of additional fee for the games, but they are wanting to get into the mobile game area. I think it's probably easier to do that and to get people to
As soon
play.
as I saw it, it made sense, which I'm so mad about because when we last spoke about this, the fact that we didn't really consider this upsets me because it's such like a obvious thing.
Hmm.
You got Netflix on. Netflix is on your phone. Like you may as well add mobile games. Your phone can run it. You know what I mean? Your TV's
Hmm.
not because, like we said, your TV's not going to be running games.
Yeah.
Unless they do a partnership with like PlayStation Now or XCloud and they do
Hmm.
streaming. Your PC, your TV's not going to handle it. You know what I mean? Then I thought like the market for them is too small. Like they have a lot of subscribers, but I highly doubt a big portion of the subscribers are on PC and watching
Hmm.
Netflix. I watch Netflix on my PC, but very few people do. But that makes sense. So Netflix on your mobile, and it has like a mobile games kind of thing. It makes
Hmm.
sense. It's the easiest to do. It's the easiest and the quickest approach. Whether it's going to be successful or not, like now I have questions. I had more hopes for them prior, but like you
Hmm.
said, it's not really set in stone. But mobile games are hit and miss, man. They're hit and miss. Like there are some amazing gems out there for mobile games, but like 80% of mobile games are just trash.
Hmm.
You know? Or everything's a gacha game and I don't not to like hate on gacha games. I play a lot of gacha games, a lot of gacha mechanic type games. Genshin Impact is basically a gacha game. But gacha games literally involve you having to spend money over and over again to do these little roulettes of slots to see what characters you unlock. Um, so it worries me because if Netflix isn't going to charge extra for this new mobile games add-on, there's going to 100% be microtransactions in these mobile games instead that Netflix will be still receiving. That's why
Hmm.
they're probably like, "Oh yeah, no extra cost. You get all these mobile games for free." And then it's like half of them are pay to win. Almost every mobile game is pay to win.
Hmm.
Like it's not even up for debate. Almost every single mobile game is pay to win.
Hmm.
Uh,
All
I'm
right.
I'm I'm upset. If it's true, I'm upset. Yeah, it's got my jimmies rustled.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably will not be using that. Like I said, I'm not a mobile game
Yeah,
player, so
no.
it's not the value add to me won't do much. I'd rather see them bring back some shows they canceled that were really good, like
Right.
Dark
Well,
Crystal and Glow and Mindhunter.
what
Spe-
was the really good? I'm blanking on the name, but the cannibal one. Uh,
Cannibal.
oh, people loved it. People loved it, and people were so upset when they canceled it. I forget. It had like a bunch of seasons, and they canceled it. It was like a lighthearted comedy about somebody being a cannibal. I I'm probably like describing it so badly. If there are any fans of the TV show out there, don't hate me. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so many like didn't they cancel that superhero show that they did recently? I really enjoyed that.
Oh, Jupiter's Legacy. They canceled after one
Yeah,
season. They spent a lot of money and they
I
canceled.
I liked that. I
I
enjoyed
didn't.
that. I
I didn't.
watched the
I didn't
first
watch it.
season.
So
It was very I mean it's similar to The Boys in the sense that it's more mature and it's
yeah.
got almost nothing to do with superpowers and more like the superheroes themselves and the drama there. Yeah, it had more to do with like family drama, but it was a good drama, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Not much of maybe that's why it got canceled. They were expecting it to pull in way more numbers in terms of action, but it was more drama than action.
Hmm. Um. So, oh, the last thing. The last thing. Speaking of Mindhunter, the Last of Us HBO series has cast Anna Torv. Anna Torv, if you know, I love her work from. She was the main character in Fringe, and she also
Mm.
was one of the main characters in Mindhunter.
Oh, Fringe is such a good
So
show.
this is
Oh.
kind of bittersweet for me because one, um, I think she's great. I think casting her as Tess in Last of Us is a good move. The thing is, by saying this, pretty much you're saying Mindhunter. I mean, they already said it, but like it's just more evidence that Mindhunter is not coming back at all. It was they had 2 seasons and they were building
Yeah,
to
wasn't
something
and wasn't that
bigger.
recent as well? Like it was only like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the thing about Netflix is they're starting to cancel shows that people like because for them it gets too expensive after it enters like the third or fourth season or whatnot. So it's just I don't know.
It's
I
because it's because they keep putting out too much stuff, man. I mean,
yes.
SNL, one of the like I love SNL. I hate what they are today, but I love SNL and where they came from. But one of them a while ago, I think it was a year or two ago, they did a sketch that was so accurate about Netflix working on creating the endless loop, where
Hmm.
by the time you're at the end of the loop, they've already started adding new shows,
Yeah.
and they've already started canceling the shows that you've already scrolled past. But and it was such an accurate joke for this. It's like Netflix just they keep like producing and canceling shows like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, just stick to a couple. Like
Yeah.
it's at this point in time where I remember when I was living in LA, if I had a friend come up to me and be like, "Yo, I just got a Netflix show," I'd be like, "Oh, dude, I'm so happy for you." Whereas now, I'd still be happy for them, but they know it's like, "Hey, you get your money and you get
Yeah.
out. You're not getting a second or third season unless that
Yeah.
show blows the fuck up, you
Yeah.
know?
Even
So you
then,
get
it's
your
like
money
even
and
if
you
it's
get out."
mildly successful. I mean, Glow wasn't a huge hit, but it was like
People loved it though,
mildly
People
successful. It was
love
like a
Glow.
cult, more like a cult hit, and it only got 3 seasons, and that was it wasn't a hugely expensive show to make.
Oh, Santa Clarita Diet. That was the show that
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
talking about.
yeah. That
That
had
was
like
the one
two
that people
seasons.
were upset.
I
People were
think
so upset that got canceled.
yeah, it had 2 seasons and then gone. So, anyways, I'm excited. Anator playing Tess, but if spoiler alert, if you haven't played the first Last of Us, you may want to stop listening or scroll ahead, or not scroll, fast forward ahead. But anyways, her character dies kind of halfway through the first game. They had this kind of dynamic going on, right? Before it became like the Joel and Ellie kind of daughter father dynamic. They had the daughter father and mother dynamic with Tess in there as well. And then she dies like halfway through the first game, and then Joel and Ellie go off on their own. So I'm wondering if they're going to kind of keep that in the show, or if they're going to change it at all, or maybe they have her character go away but not necessarily kill her, maybe bring her back in later episodes.
Nice.
All right, that's it
Well,
for me. What do you got going on?
I was gonna say with regards to that, with regards to Netflix and shows, I'm guessing the Detective Pikachu. Well, I love the Detective Pikachu movie, and I've said it before. I really hope that they do more of those like live action CGI Pokemon movies because originally I thought that movie was gonna flop, and I really really enjoyed it. It wasn't an amazing movie or a perfect movie, but it was enjoyable. It was fun. I was happy to spend my money to go and watch it. I wanted more, not necessarily more like a sequel, but just more in that world, in that like city, or it could even be a different city, but just more in that world that they created. I don't know if this will be following it, but there's a Pokemon live action series in development with Netflix. If they go the route of the movie and it's like it looks beautiful, that's gonna be great. But if they go low budget with this, it's gonna suck. You know what I mean? It's just like there's not even questioning it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that they don't make too many changes and they don't bugger it up like they did with the Death Note live action movie that they made, which was just absolutely trash as well. But yeah, so they're working on it. They're literally aiming to replicate the Detective Pikachu movie. Like try to get that hype around it. Let's see. Who's working on it? I can't get his full name. Uh, Joe Henderson. Sorry, yeah, the guy who did Lucifer. Joe Henderson. He's gonna be working on it. But yeah, like I think that this will be more successful than their Cowboy Bebop live action. Um, what they're doing a live action One Piece movie as well. I'm sorry, I'm missing this. Yeah, Netflix officially announces One Piece live action series. What the hell? That's gonna suck. Right off the bat, I can say that's gonna suck. But yeah, I think this Pokemon live action is gonna do quite well. This is worth talking about for the news because a lot of streamers and YouTubers have been playing it. But the big MMO that Amazon was working on actually looks dope. Like it actually looks fun. It's well received. People are digging it. I've seen a lot of videos and I really want to get it because it's an MMO, but it's also like not an
Mm-hmm.
MMO because the combat is very like modern, almost like Souls like. It's not like you're you're just like clicking a button and then waiting, you know? You actually have to position yourself. You have to dodge. You have to block. You have
Mm-hmm.
to like it's actual combat, like real combat. You know what I mean? There's end level raids with you have like 5-man teams, similar to Final Fantasy 14. You're doing 5-man raiding teams at the
Mm-hmm.
end. The game looks beautiful. Um, what I like about the game is you can straight up like apparently you can go in prone and nobody can like see you because there's no banners above your head or anything with your name, so you can literally like sneak up around people and things like that. There's I could be wrong about this. I don't want to get it wrong, but I think they have a PvPe mode.
Hmm.
Yeah, they have a PvPe mode in it where it's like there's PvP, but there's also a bunch of like NPCs that you can kill instead, and there's like different ways you can play the game. I watched someone play a few rounds of it. In the first round, he was doing actual PvP, and
Mm-hmm.
then he realized that he could do other things like go and collect materials. Like you don't even have to like do combat in that game mode, you know, because I think it's 20 people against 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
and there's all sorts of things to do in it. I can't wait to get my hands on it because I don't know too much about it. It looks fun.
Yeah, they
I
had
just hope
the
I hope the story is
beta
good.
recently, right? They had the beta.
Yeah, people like the beta.
Yeah.
I think right now you could pre-order the game and get access to early access kind of stuff, and
That's the
it
new
does.
business model.
Yeah, it does look good. Considering I thought that it was gonna bomb when we first spoke about this like 2 years ago or something.
It's because they were
This
having a
was
lot of trouble with their other studio. They had a lot of canceled
yeah
games and whatnot. But this game, what's interesting is like this game is like for everyone. It like Amazon is like the develop. It's not like exclusive to their new
yeah. It's
platform
for anybody.
Luna. It's not
It looks like
whatever.
it'll work well on console as well. Like most MMOs are traditionally designed for PC, and then like Final Fantasy found a pretty good way to work around that
Mm-hmm.
giant hotbar that you have at the bottom with all your abilities, which is by clicking L1 and R1 to flick through different types of hotbars. And it's actually kind of complicated to explain it, but it's quite genius how they were able to get around that giant hotbar at the bottom that's usually there for MMOs. But with this, there's not nearly as much buttons to push and stuff. Therefore, it's super easy to play on controller or like keybind it to
Mm-hmm.
controller. Um, I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be super successful. Whether it's gonna have longevity,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know about. But right off the bat, I think this game's gonna be successful. I think it's gonna do quite well. It's not gonna dethrone Final Fantasy 14 because that game is gonna be on top of the food chain for MMOs for at least another 5 years. I
Mm-hmm.
think. It is basically the new World of Warcraft in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like popularity and how many people are playing it. But yeah, it looks good. If anybody hasn't taken a look at any gameplay yet, definitely check it out. It looks really good. People are raving about it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is like I don't want to go too into it because it's such a dirty, difficult topic to talk about. But for anybody who's been paying attention to gaming news the past week, there has been Activision Blizzard,
Yeah.
specifically Blizzard's headquarters, I believe in San Francisco. There's a lot of allegations going around. I have so many articles about this. It's crazy. So we're not gonna get into it. The employees denounce the corporate statements. They say we are here, we're angry, and we're not so easily silenced because it seems like the head the Blizzard head is saying some things that obviously the employers aren't agreeing about.
Yeah, they're basically
Um,
saying, "Oh, these allegations are false and like these are all distorted and exaggerated and whatnot."
they're
And
like,
then,
but they're like going, they're saying one thing and then saying another thing because it's literally they're saying it's both disturbing and meritless.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Like at one point in time, they're like, "Wow, these allegations are disturbing," and another point, they're like, "Ah, they're not real." And it's like, well, then why would you have found them so disturbing in the first place? Like, if you're disturbed by it, it's because you know it's happening. You know what I mean? Um, it's a really messy situation. I don't really think it's worth talking about because we're not really a drama channel, even though it's gaming drama
hmm
essentially.
we're
But
also not lawyers.
yeah, we're also not lawyers, so I don't know. We can't really talk about things that we don't know too much about. But the employees are upset, and apparently these it's sexual misconduct. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
and things like
sexual
that, and
misconduct, sexual assault.
I think racism as well, possibly.
They
Um,
said from what the description that I
or
saw in
sorry,
one
sexism
article
and
was
things
that
like
it
that.
was like a they said like a frat boy atmosphere or something like that.
Yeah, it's just not which is like I can totally see that at Blizzard headquarters, man. It's it's just not okay. I hope the situation sorts itself out with the employees in terms of Blizzard and Activision. I need to look at the camera right in the eye when I say this. This is metaphorically speaking. I really hope they burn down to the ground. Um, not really, not like physically, but metaphorically. I hope Acti Blizzard burns down to the ground because I hate that corporation. They have screwed my childhood up. They have disappointed me time and time again. Unfortunately, they're probably still going to be around for a long time because once Overwatch 2 comes out, they'll be back on top again. They're definitely not with World of Warcraft. People aren't playing it anymore, even with with Classic coming out and them doing the Burning Crusade.
Well, I mean, they've already kind of, made their money. They made their money off of that game.
I mean, half the guys that I looked up to don't even work there anymore. So it's not even the company that I admire. I really admired Blizzard. Like when I say like, dude, I had Blizzard posters in my room. Not even just like Warcraft posters, but like actual just Blizzard, their logo. Like I loved Blizzard, man, and it's so disappointing what that company has become over the past years.
Well, they merged with Activision, merged with Activision, and Activision was a totally different type of company.
It's just never been the same, man. But to the employees, I hope they sort it out. But to the company CEOs and people who are running it, I don't care about them because they don't care about us. It's just one of those things that's clear as daylight to any gamer or anybody who's played a Blizzard game in the past few years. Let's see. This is a little bit more uplifting news, a little lighthearted, which I thought was just fun to add. Genshin Impact is adding fishing in the game. I only bring that up because I love it when games add fishing mechanics. I'm that guy. I'm that guy where, dude, even in Fortnite, when people are shooting each other, I'm fishing. I'm out there. I'm fishing for loot, man. I love me a good fishing mechanic. So they're adding which is funny enough. That might be the one thing that's going to get me back to Genshin Impact is the fact that they added fishing. And people are making jokes saying it's finally a real game now because they've added fishing.
Hey, Red Dead Redemption had fishing. Or Red Redemption 2.
Which also, speaking of, not that I was going to cover this, but apparently Red Dead Redemption Online has been having a huge problem with just like swamps of horses. I don't know, it's like Horseageddon or something on Red Dead Redemption Online right now. Before we get going, I want to take a look here and see if there's anything else that I'm missing. There was a game recently that the beta came out, Splitgate, and people loved it so much that they had to shut down the servers for it. They actually had to stop. I think it was crossplay as well. They had to stop the closed beta, or what was it? Yeah, it's the close. That to literally make it offline, and because it got so popular, that I think the devs. Like, they haven't said it yet, but most likely they're going to delay the launch of the game because they've realized, oh, wow, people really want to play this. Let's polish the hell out of it. You know what I mean? Which I think is a smart approach. Once you realize you're going to have a bunch of fans and a bunch of people playing your game, and you have the time to polish it more, do it. You know what I mean? You're going to make your money back. But yeah, so Splitgate, keep an eye out for that. I don't know much about the game itself, but it seems like it's getting a bit of hype and traction. Yeah, and then like there's a couple other small things, but they're not really that much worth mentioning. I will say this because I had a lot of fun with it, but actually, Google's latest doodle, which was inspired by the Olympics going on in Japan. Which oh man, I don't know. Did you watch the Olympics, the intro or like the opening?
The opening ceremony, yeah.
They used so much like JRPG songs and sounds and like anime. I was so happy. It was amazing to watch and like recognize a good chunk of the sounds and songs they were using. I was like, holy crap! It was a big moment for me. So Google recently did a doodle, and it's basically a mini JRPG. Straight up, it's a Google doodle. It has animations. It has cutscenes. It's very short, and you're basically doing like each Olympic thing. And you're just using the spacebar and your numbers. So yeah, hey, for the people who are watching right now on YouTube, you may as well check out the new Google Doodle. It's actually really cute, really fun. And yeah, there's like factions you can join. Obviously, the Fire faction has the most players, so it has the most points so far. But it's quite fun. I think one of the first things that make you play is like table tennis. But that's all the news I got. It has been a very slow week, to be fair. Not
Yeah.
much going on. Oh yes, before I forget, the Ascent is dropping today or tomorrow, like real soon. It's dropping the 29th, so it's dropping in 2 days from now. And on Game Pass, I might add. It's coming to Game Pass in 2 days. We spoke about the Ascent a while ago. A lot of hype around it. I'm looking forward to trying it out in 2 days. It does look like a good game.
All right, cool. I think that's it for us this week. Where can people find you, Josh?
You guys can find me right here on the Revog channel. You guys can also find me on Twitch at Josh_Toki. And that's Toki.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. We also have Twitter, which is Revog Games. Also have the podcast feed, which is on Spotify and on Anchor.fm. And yeah, we've been posting. I just posted a video about this VR game called A Township Tale, kind of pointing out 5 fixes they need for the game to succeed, because it has a lot of potential. The game is basically like and I've never played it, but I'm just guessing. It's like a Minecraft, a VR Minecraft, because you go around and you collect materials and you can craft different buildings and weapons and whatnot. But the main point isn't really combat. It's you interact with other people and run around and do tasks and whatnot. So I made a little video there if you want to check that out, and I'll probably figure out what to talk about this week. There's just I'm trying to think of what games are upcoming soon, and we do have the Ghost of Tsushima coming out next month, the director's cut. We'll definitely be talking about that when that comes out. Yeah. Have you finished the game yet?
No, I haven't actually.
You should finish the game.
I gave my PS4 to my nephew because it is school holidays and he works really hard at school and he just wants to play Fortnite. He's like 11 years old. So
I was Fortnite. Like, can you play Fortnite on a phone?
Or an iPad? No, because they're getting sued. Remember, it was that whole big deal.
So no. Like, iPhones are getting sued.
Yeah, but they pretty much they just you can still play Fortnite, I think, on your iPhone or your iPad, but it just never updated. Like it's the same game from about a year ago that never got updated. But no, like I don't know. He just really wants to like use a controller and like not game on an iPad for once. He's only 11 years old. I know it means the world to him, so I'm letting him use it in the meantime. I only got about halfway through the story mode of Tsushima. I was actually looking back at all the screenshots I took because I think I posted them on Facebook. And the game's photo mode is so good, man.
Yeah,
it really is. But I will say, seeing as in 2 or 3 days from now, The Ascent is coming out and it's on Game Pass, I'm definitely going to try it out. Maybe you try it out too. We can do a bit of a review for it.
Cool. Yeah, definitely want to play some more games coming out and do some more kind of reviews and whatnot.
Have you gotten into Yakuza Like a Dragon yet?
Not yet.
I was working. You're gonna love it, man.
I was working on that Township Tale stuff. It's weird. That game is like there's so many things wrong with it, but yet at the same time it has something about it.
A lot of potential. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential, but it's like the game mechanics are terrible. The UI is not good. There's so many things that they don't explain anything. You got to figure out stuff on your own. It's just, but yet like at its core, it has something about it that is fun. So, anyways, that's it, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you guys later.
Give us a follow on Spotify. Do it. It's the cool thing to do.